thank you so much for being here. So you have many causes, and you have many things that you've championed beyond swimming. One of those has been saving water and your partnership with Colgate. Why is water conservation so important to you?
I mean, for me, water's been a massive part of my life. For all of it. It will be throughout my whole entire life. I mean, water for me is something that's so calming, but it's also so important. And you know, in our country, we're not as good as I think we could be in the sense of being able to conserve water as a nation. So I'm just asking everybody to work together and just to try to conserve as much as you can, because there are so many things that we can do consciously to make an impact on the future generations to come.
I just want to switch gears a little bit and talk about Tokyo 2020. Are you gonna go? Are you involved in any way?
I mean, I'd like to go. We've been having some conversations of potentially going over and doing some work. I'd like to take my family over too, and really just, I mean, the first time being able to actually go to one where I'm not competing. You know, I think it's kind of bizarre to think about that, but I'm excited just to see what it's going to be like sitting in the stands watching my friends competing.
Just talking about the Olympics, last year, in several instances, you talked about how the USOC didn't do enough and could do much more in terms of helping retiring athletes sort of get back into their society, get back into their communities. I wonder, now that we're in 2019 and with Tokyo coming up, do you think that there's been any improvement on that front?
No. You know, there's so many athletes that struggle in so many different ways, and to be honest, a lot of us just feel like nobody cares. And I think that's something that's so sad to see, especially when, you know, they prepare us so well physically, emotionally, in all those ways, but they don't really prepare us for anything after. You know, I think it's nice to be able to see some of the athletes who have stood up and who have talked about struggles that they've had, to be able to one, help themselves, but also help so many others who are going through the same exact thing.
I wonder if there's sort of any mechanisms to provide mental health care for these types of athletes when they finish the Olympic Games. I
mean, I'm personally working on a product with a company called MediBio. It's a wearable device. Works with PTSD, stress, anxiety, depression. It's something I continue to use, and I've seen great results. And you know, being able to use a therapist or talk to a therapist when I need to. There are so many little things that I think that any athlete can do, and I'm encouraging all the other athletes and everybody to do the same exact thing.
And to talk about it, I mean, you're such a celebrated athlete, and to be able to go out and talk about these struggles, you know, hopefully, I imagine, is to inspire others to do the same, as you said.
100%. And you know, I think for me, if I can just save one life, or 5 lives, or a million, 100 lives, a million lives through all of this, you know, just to give a little bit of hope, or, you know, to try to save somebody from committing suicide, I think, you know, that for me is a big task, and it's something I'm looking forward to. But I'm trying, and I think that's the only thing I can do. You know, I wake up and I try to do different things to try to continue to accomplish the goal that I have, and you know, being able to make people understand that it's okay to not be okay.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.